All right. Hello, folks. Good evening and welcome to all of you. I assume that most of you are educators here. I want to do a quick, if you don't mind, if you can turn your camera on for a moment, just so we can see you, like this whole virtual thing that many of us are embarking on in the not too distant future. It can feel very impersonal and very disconnected. So I just want to see some faces here. First of all, if you are a Santa Clarita educator, you're in my neck of the woods. Where are you? Wave, make some noise, raise your hand. All right, so I got some Santa Clarita people here. Welcome. And then if you're a Cata person, wave. I see my Cata friends from all over, really. Wow, even there's Leanne, and Leanne is up in Washington State. And okay, so and everybody else who is not in Santa Clarita and is not a Cata person, go ahead and wave, raise your hand. Hello, good to see you. I don't know how you got here, but I'm very excited that you are. So welcome, my name is Ron Ippolito. I am an 8th grade social studies teacher and the video production advisor at Rio Norte Junior High School in Santa Clarita, California in the William S. Hart District. And with me, I have some wonderful educators from also here in the Hart District. I have Beth Holland. Beth, where are you at?
Right here.
There's Beth. Hi, Beth. And then Heather Kennedy over at Castaic High School. Heather, hello.
Hi.
And then finally, Molly Peters from West Ranch High School. Molly, where are you?
I'm right here, and I also teach at a junior high. I'm the music teacher at a junior high and high school. So
that's right. You're both. You're right across the street from each other, and you're going back and forth. That's awesome.
Yep.
Beth also from West Ranch High School. So all of us proud Hart District educators. So this evening, we're going to go ahead and talk about something that to be honest, I really didn't know much about a couple of months ago. And then, a few weeks ago, I was like, Bitmoji Classroom, I don't know if I want to go down that rabbit hole, but it's been a lot of fun. So raise your hand if you've already kind of dabbled in the Bitmoji Classroom world. You've kind of been playing around with it a little bit. All right, so we already have some folks who are have some experience with Bitmoji Classroom. So folks, welcome and great to have you here. I'm going to go ahead and do my screen share again so that you can kind of see what's going on, check out our agenda. And so here's what we're planning on doing. Part 1 of this evening, we're going to talk about why and how to set up a Bitmoji Classroom. So kind of go through, first of all, why should we even bother with this? What's the big deal? And then some of the mechanics of setting up your Bitmoji Classroom. Part 2 will be some examples of different Bitmoji classrooms, and I'm so glad to have Molly, Heather, and Beth all here because they've been doing this for longer than I have, and they're part of the inspiration why I, jumped into this to begin with. And then finally, final part will be how do we make it outward facing? In other words, so we've made these beautiful Bitmoji classrooms, and they're all full of amazing resources and cute clip art, Bitmojis, all that. But then what do we do with it? What's the practical application? How do we turn it outward facing so that our students can use it, so our parents and families can use it, so it can be a functional tool for our virtual classrooms or our blended classrooms or whatever it's going to look like in the coming weeks and months. So let's go ahead, and I want to just let you know that this right here, if you've never gotten into the world of Bitmoji Classroom, it can be time consuming. It can totally be like this rabbit hole that you are falling down, and you can really put a lot of time into it. I probably put a couple, 2-3 hours into this, and I could have put plenty of more time into it as well. By the way, I should let you know that if you want to throw something into the chat, if you want to say hello, if you want to say where you're from, please go ahead. Feel free to introduce yourself and share any great resources that you have. And then I do want to answer Molly's question because I didn't see it previously. Molly, if you want to do screen sharing of your own, you totally can. I have the entire slideshow here. So I'm willing to run the whole thing from here. But if you have something special you want to share, then I will gladly hand over those the reins to you because you are a co-host. So if you would like to see these resources, I do have the QR code right there. I also sent out the slideshow. I think I sent out the slideshow in the email, and I can also actually, why don't I just go ahead and do this right now before I forget, is I will just copy this link And I will drop this right into the chat. That way you see it. And so if you want to check this out, this presentation out, and all of the resources, a lot of these slides are not even mine. A lot of these slides belong to Molly and Heather and Beth, because they're really the creative geniuses tonight. I'm just kind of, making my way through. So anyway, there is, this is how you can access the slideshow. A lot of links and resources here. These are all clickable, and I'm not going to, well, I guess I am. So all of these are clickable as I demonstrated. Distance learning treasure chest here, some more resources down here. All of the tips and examples that we're going to share here. And then finally, the chat. If you share resources tonight, I'm going to go ahead and copy the text of the chat this evening, and I'm going to drop it in a Google Doc right there. And so you can access this chat. Sometimes we participate in these Zoom events, and they're so much fun, and we have a great time, and there was such good stuff shared in the chat, and then we never see that chat, or we forget to save it. And so anyway, that chat will be right there. Okay, let me go ahead and let me hit escape because I want to get back to, oh, did I do it? Perfect. Okay. So first of all, when would I even use a Bitmoji Classroom? We're going to talk about a lot of these tonight. First of all, to use as a Google Classroom banner or header. If you want to embed it on the landing page of your website using the HTML embed code, we're going to show you how to do that. For menu or choice boards, maybe for a wellness or mindfulness center, we're going to show you an example of that. And then perhaps also for a daily or weekly landing page for your students. And we'll talk about different ways to do that. So other uses, designing agenda slides, using as your desktop background if you just want to create a fun space just for yourself personally, creating virtual stations to create a virtual art show or virtual field trip, virtual library of content-specific books that you want to share with your students, a PD library if you're an administrator, counselor, or part of your school's PD team. You can use it as a library for your staff, to create award certificates, create a photo or student photo gallery or a staff photo gallery, or to frame videos in Google Slides. So if you want to kind of fancy up your Google Slides and make it, when you play a video, you could do that, and plenty of other uses as well. So let's go ahead. I do want to jump right now into, I'm going to stop this share. All right. So I love the virtual world. I love technology, but I also have my paper checklist in front of me. So you can keep me honest. I'm going to go ahead, and if we succeed tonight, we'll hopefully check off all of the things on this checklist on this slide and the next slide to show you exactly how to get this all done, how to actually put this together so that you can create your own Bitmoji classroom. So you want to go ahead and get started using Google Slides. So I am going to do a new screen share here, and I'm going to share this screen this time. And one little trick that I like to share with people is if you type slides.new, that will go ahead and automatically start up a brand new Google Slides slideshow for you. And by the way, I should also point out that if you have something you want to say, you have a question, while I'm talking, I'm not monitoring the chat. So if you just want to speak up and just say, hey, Ron, can you explain that? Or hey, Ron, then please feel free to. If you want to ask a question of somebody else in the room, go ahead and throw it in the chat. And I know we have a lot of really helpful people here in the presentation this evening. All right, so we're in our blank Google Slides. I love Google Slides. You could use PowerPoint as well, but I'm definitely all about the Google Slides. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And so the first thing we want to do is we want to create a backdrop, right? We want to try to put something in there to try to make it look like it is a classroom. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And there are a couple different ways you can do this. First of all, I'm going to go to Insert, Image, and then I'm going to search the web. So I want to search for a background. And so let's go ahead and put wall and floor. And why didn't I spell it correctly? Wall and floor background, see what comes up. All right, so we have a few options here. Now, when you search inside Google Slides, you're always going to get fewer options because all of the selections in Google Slides, at least it's my understanding, that they're all licensed for public use, right? In other words, you have the ability to create to use this, and the owner has given you permission. So this is always the safest place, but if you want more options, and if you're okay with bending copyright law just a little bit, as sometimes we teachers do, then you could do a Google image search. But for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and I'll select this one and I'll click insert. I could also drag and drop if I want. All right, so, maybe not the prettiest, And actually, I don't like that. So I'm going to go ahead and go to Google Images, because Google Images is going to give me a lot more options, wall and floor background. And so now I have a ton of different options. Let's go ahead and go with this one. And I want to go ahead and pick one that doesn't have these watermarks on there. And yeah, let's go ahead and let's go with this one. So a couple different ways you can do this. I'm going to go ahead and copy the image and then drop it in using Control V or Command V on a Mac to paste. And then I'm going to fit this to size. Now it's not quite fitting, so I have a couple of different options. I can either stretch it if I want, but it will look stretched. And if we like that, then we could do that way. Or if I wanted to, Control Z or Command Z on a Mac to undo, I can crop this a little bit. Let's say I want a little less floor and I want more wall. Then I can crop it down there and I can stretch it. And it's still not quite enough. So I'm double clicking right now to crop. You can also, if you click on the image, you can also click the crop tool right here. Always a couple of.
Is there a reason you're not setting it as a backdrop, as a background?
I could if I wanted to. The only problem is if I set it as a background image, then the advantage of that is it won't move. Like you can't shuffle it. You can't accidentally slide it to one place or the other. You can't accidentally manipulate it. The downside is you can't manipulate it within Google Slides, right? So what I'm doing right here, you couldn't do if you just set it as your background image. So that's a great question. It's just a personal preference that I had. That's the reason why I did that. But you could also set it so if you wanted to, you could. I did a right mouse click, save image as, and then I would save it to downloads or to the desktop, and I could click save. And so the other option I have is I could go to background, and I could upload this background from my computer because I've downloaded it, and it's right there. So that's the other option, but again, I can't do anything with it, right? Like I can't stretch it, I can't manipulate it at all if I wanted to. So we'll go with this, but for some reason, I'm gonna go ahead and do a
Different color? Or just
all right. For some reason, this wall is stained, and I don't know why, and I don't like it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to insert a shape. I'm going to insert a rectangle, and I'm going to start it up here in the upper left corner, drag it down here, and right to the edge of the wall. All right, that seems a little stark. So let's start playing with some options. These are my color options for the object that I just created. I'm going to make that border transparent. I don't want to border it all. And now I got some fill options. So let's say I want to, whoa, fuchsia wall. That's a little jarring. So let's try something else. Let's say a matte blue. That's kind of nice, but I could also go to gradient. Now let's say I want to make it, oh, look at that. So that's kind of that's a little bit of a nicer blue. So we'll go ahead and go with that. Now, if I wanted to get super fancy, I could add a baseboard down there, but I don't think I need to do that. So I'm going to add a couple of objects. I'm not going to decorate my entire Bitmoji classroom because that would take the entire hour plus some, but I want to show you how to throw in maybe one or two more things. So the next thing I want to put in, if it's a classroom, is a whiteboard, either a whiteboard or a chalkboard. So I'm going to search for whiteboard. And let's see what happens if I do this. Now, it just so happens, coincidentally, that this has a transparent background. They don't always have transparent backgrounds, but it's if you don't want to leave it to chance, you can go to Insert Image. And if you put Whiteboard Transparent, then you will make sure that your background is transparent. And the reason why you want it to be transparent is because you don't want to have that white rectangle behind it, right? Because you want it to look like it's an actual object in space. I don't like that one. I actually like the one I had before. So I'm going to do Control Z to undo, and I'm going to undo. I'm just going to take this one here. I'm going to crop it. I did a double click. I'm going to crop it just so it's a tight crop around there. And if I keep moving it slowly, once I get that red midline right there, that shows me the middle of my frame. So I'll go ahead and just put it right there. And now that's in the middle. Now, if I wanted to, I could, if I don't want these whiteboard markers, I could also just go ahead and drop in a white rectangle here. And I could just decide to cover those up. Transparent, pure white. There you go. Drop this down a little bit. I could either use, if I want to manipulate objects on my screen, I can either grab the mouse and just start manhandling it, or if you just want to just nudge it, you can use the arrow buttons. You'll notice if I arrow up, arrow down, and if I want to just really fine tune it, I can hold the shift key down. And you'll see how it's just moving ever so slightly. Sometimes you just want to fine tune it. And that's one more. I just want to cover that up. Beautiful. That's it. Okay. One more thing I want to throw on there. Molly Peters, what should I throw in my classroom?
A fish bowl.
Awesome. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and that I never expected that answer, Molly. Thank you. Let's go big and go fish tank. Okay. But now I'm in Google Images and I can go into the tools and make sure that the background is transparent by going to tools and then color and then transparent. So let's go ahead. You'll know because as it's loading, you'll see that gray and white checkerboard behind it. So let's go ahead and I did not want to do that. I just want to right mouse click, copy image, and then Control V or Command V on a Mac to paste. And there is my fish tank. Now, if I wanted to, I could put this on a table, but this is, I don't know if you know about these. This is a special wall-mounted fish tank. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put it right there. Okay. The other thing that I should mention is this is the standard size, right? This is the 16:9 aspect ratio. So this is kind of that standard Google Slides orientation. However, if you wanted to make it a different size, and I think Molly's going to talk about this. You're talking about Google Classroom banners, Molly? Yes, okay. So if you wanted to make it a different shape for a different use, then you could go down here to page setup. And that's when you can customize it so you can make it exactly the dimensions that you want. Okay, let's go back to my checklist because I want to keep myself honest here. So what have we done so far? I showed you how to get started. I showed you how to insert a background in images, Google search, and a Google image search. Okay, next thing I want to show you is remove a background or an image using remove.bg. So let me stop this. All righty, how are we doing so far? You're looking good. All right. Hey, I am the advisor for the video production program at Rio Norte Junior High School. My program is called Rio TV. I'm very proud of our group, so proud, in fact, that I ordered those stickers online. You know, those stickers that you can stick onto your water bottle or laptop or whatever. So let's say I want to put this sticker on my wall in my virtual classroom. So I went ahead and earlier I took a picture of this picture. Excuse me, I took a picture of this sticker. But here's the problem. If I just stick this on there, then that's not going to look really good, right? Because that's my sticker on the table. That just does not look very cool. Instead, I want to remove the background so that we get rid of the table and we're just left with the sticker. So there are a lot of different ways you can do this, but the simplest and easiest one that I found was to go to remove.bg. So remove.bg for background. And I'm going to go ahead and upload this image. So there's my sticker, a picture of the sticker that I took on the table. And
can you go
uploading.
back to share screen because we can't see what you're doing?
Oh, you know what? I should. Thank you. I just get so excited with this stuff that. All right, let's try this again. Okay, I don't want to spoil the surprise. All right, remove.bg, and then I click upload image. it will eventually look like that. So it's uploading, and then it's going to remove the background. And there it is. It's beautiful. Now, if I want to download high res, of course, it's going to charge me money. I'm a teacher, so I don't have that kind of money to start paying for high res images. I think the regular size is going to be just fine. I click download, and so that's downloading to my desktop. And now I'm going to insert and upload from the computer, and there it is. Boom. And now I can resize it, put it right there. And you know what? I want to give it just a little bit of depth. I'll make it a little bit smaller. And so I'm going to go to Format Options and click Drop Shadow. And you see how it just has a subtle drop shadow on there. If I wanted to, I could make it bigger. I could increase the blur radius. I could kind of make it pop out from the wall a little bit more. I could also make the drop shadow darker. I just want it to be real subtle, just real subtle. Okay. There we go. And so I just put a sticker on my wall using remove.bg. Okay, we removed the background, and now we want to transform images. Oh, okay, so there are different ways. So let's say, for example, I want to put a couch in my room. So I'm going to insert, and I'm going to insert that image by searching the web. And I'll go to transparent sofa, and let's see what comes up. Let's try that one. Did it insert? Drag it and drop it and see what happens. There we go. There's our, oh, I got two different sofas. Okay, I only want one. Let's close that. All right, we'll get rid of this one. Now, the first thing is, if I want to put it over here on this side of the room, I don't want it facing away. I would want it facing the other way. So I'm going to go ahead and right mouse click, and I'm going to rotate. I'm going to flip it horizontally. So now it will face the other direction. Make it a little bit smaller. This red couch really doesn't go with my blue wall. So I'm going to go to Format Options and Adjustments. Actually, I want to go to Recolor first. And now I have these different recolor options. So, oh, there we go. Maybe not a perfect match, but you know, it's better than what I had before. And I could also put, no, I don't like that. Let's go back there. And then if I wanted to, I could lower the brightness, make it a little bit darker. And then if I wanted to, I could put my Bitmoji actually sitting down. I could get rid of my cool looking guy there. And I could actually have my Bitmoji sitting down, which is what I'm going to show you in just a moment, because I think that's the next thing on my checklist is creating your Bitmoji. I'm going to go ahead and jump ahead to that. So I'm going to show you another trick here. And let me stop the share. And I'm going to connect my computer. Let me go ahead and minimize that. I'm actually going to connect to my phone, and I'll show you how to do this. Let me reshare, do a screen share again. This time I'm going to send it over to this screen over here. All right. I'm going to go ahead, and this is something you can only do on a Mac. But if you have a Mac, then you're going to go ahead and you're going to open up QuickTime. And with the QuickTime player, you can actually send your phone to your computer screen. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, that is not what I want. I want to change my camera, and I want to change to my phone. All right, and it should be, there we go. Awesome. Yes. Uh-oh. All right, real quick. I'm going to pause that screen share. There we go. Okay, so do you see my phone now? Thumbs up if you see the phone. Awesome. Okay, so one of the things that you have to do if you want to make a Bitmoji classroom is you have to download the Bitmoji app. because you need to create your Bitmoji. So I'm going to go ahead and tap on the Bitmoji app here. Now, I have already created my Bitmoji with the help of my wonderful daughter, Libby, who is sitting across the table from me. She's moderating the YouTube chat. Anything on YouTube so far? No, it's a real slow night over there because everybody was able to get in on Zoom. But anyway, you can go ahead and you can change your avatar. I could, wow, look at all those different hairstyles. I'm not going to take you through all of this, but I will say that in order to have a true Bitmoji classroom, you need to create your Bitmoji. And the only way that I know to do that is actually on the app on your phone. I don't think you can actually create your Bitmoji. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to download the app on the phone in order to create that. Once you do that, then...
Actually, hey, Ron.
Yes.
There's an extension you can get for Chrome, and it'll put it right into your search bar.
That is awesome. Okay, so, but the Bitmoji extension, which I'm going to show right now, make sure that I'm doing a proper screen share here. Can you actually like modify your Bitmoji, like put hairstyles on there and different clothing and things on the Chrome extension?
Yes,
That you're aware of?
Go to the website to do that, I think.
You have to do it on your phone if you're going to change your clothes, but the extension works on your Chrome if you want to use the pictures.
Okay. Well, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and I created my avatar, my virtual guy, my Bitmoji on my phone, but I can go ahead and this is the other powerful thing that you want to add is if you just do a Google search for Bitmoji Chrome extension, then you'll want to make sure to add this to, and obviously you want to be using Chrome. So you want to make sure to add this. Of course, it says remove from Chrome because I've already added it. So I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to click because I have the extension right here. Click on the extension. And I want to be sitting. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and put my person right here. Something happened to my couch. I don't know what happened to my sofa. Oh, did I put my sofa? I put my sofa over here. Well, let's put myself sitting over here then. Almost forgot where my sofa was. A couple different ways. You can either drag and drop, or you can right mouse click, copy image, and then Control V to paste or Command V on a Mac. I'll resize myself. And then look how comfortable I look on this sofa with my feet dangling off the ground. There we go. So, and there are so many different poses. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them. But let's say I do want to show you this. Let's say, for example, you really like this, this image here. Let me just drag him and drop him. Let's say that you really like this, right? But you don't want the high, like you just want to see yourself waving. Then another trick is to go in here and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get him. I'm going to save the image and I'll save it. I'll call it Bitmoji High and I'll save it to my desktop. And I'm going to go back to my remove.bg because here's what I'm going to do. Watch this. This is magical. Okay. So I'm going to edit this and I'm going to erase and I'm going to change the brush size and look at that. So I can erase parts of this and then when I'm done, I just click download and now I can drop myself. Let's get rid of him and I can drop myself right back and there's the one where I got rid of it. And there I am right there. Awesome. Line it up. I could be right behind popping out from a file cabinet or something fun like that. Anyway, okay. I'm going to stop real quick because I think I've gone over the how-tos and it's already 7:29. So I want to make sure that Molly and Heather and Beth have an opportunity to share their great stuff because I've been talking a long time. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this slide here and I'm going to do a reshare and go back and Boom. All right. Beth, I think this is yours.
This is me. Okay, so I've actually done some more work on this since I put this in yesterday, but everything is linked. So I'm going to spend my first day with the kids. Part of what they're going to do is a scavenger hunt just to see all the things that are linked. But anywhere they see a hand, it takes them to something. So it took a long time to get this set up, but other than what's written on the board, this is going to be my template going forward. So yeah, this one took a long time to kind of figure everything out, but the other stuff will all stay. I'll take off what's on the board, take off the video that was just for the intro day, and then put the new agenda and information on the board. So you could have anything link to anything. So my West Ranch banner links to the West Ranch High School website. The calendar links to our school calendar, our district calendar. The circle on the calendar links to like a page that tells about August 11th and all the important things that happened. So you can have it linked to anything. You can have as much or as little as you want. My classroom actually does look like this. It's pretty crowded. So it kind of will get the kids used to that. So I have everything that in the slideshow that is linked to that will change daily. The things that it's linked to that will stay are pretty much like things that are on the web. So, or in Google Classroom. So the things for today, for that first day of school that will change are things like the syllabus or the scavenger hunt. Those are things I want them to be able to go straight to. And if you click on them, it'll go straight to the Google Classroom assignment. And so that way it'll be super easy for them to be able to get straight to where they want to go. The slides that come after it, I had to learn how to, and I don't know if you can show those, Ron. They have a little eye and a cross out of them, and it could be because of you're not able to get to them because of the skip slide. But you have to, if you don't want the kids to just be able to click forward and go to those next slides, which are linked to that first slide, you have to right click on them on that left toolbar and click skip slide. So that way, the only way they'll get to that slide is by clicking whatever you had linked in that first slide to get to there. And then what I found out was, and this is what I've changed since yesterday, they could still click anywhere in that slide in present mode, and it took them to that next slide. So what I had to do is I had to move my arrow out of the way. I had to put a transparent box over the whole thing. And then I had to link that transparent box to that slide. And then move the arrow and make it in the front so that they can go back to that first slide. If you're just going to have this one slide, you don't have to worry about that. But that's kind of one of those next steps that after you get this situated, you can go to those next steps that you do. So the different slides that are in here are the ones that are linked in the actual first slide. Everything that's on the first slide is either linked to these slides or to Google Classroom. So my slides that are after will also change from day to day. And then I think that was pretty much the only change that I made. I took off on my additional slides, I took off all the other links because I didn't want them to have to worry about, oh, which slide am I clicking things on? So, so that's basically it. As far as there's a lot of tutorials and things like that that will show you how to, you know, add the different things to your slides. But if you know how to right click and link and link things over, you should be able to get, you know, anything you want linked into this starting off slide.
Beth, this is like a Bitmoji classroom on steroids. This is pretty.
I think there's very very few places that you look that there's not something to click on.
I know. I especially was impressed. I noticed that you set your aquarium video to automatically. So this video here, you actually have to press play
Right.
in order to get it to start, but your aquarium just it just goes.
Yeah.
So in Google Slides, you can change that so that some videos are auto start, whereas others you actually have to click in order to press play.
Right.
Awesome. Well, Beth, thank you so much.
Yes, and anybody that, if you click on things, I think everything is linked there. You should be able to see it. But if you want something, just send me an email. It's actually M Holen, because my legal name is Mary, and I'm willing to share. You know, I got a lot of this stuff from other people that shared, so I have no ownership, and I don't. You know, I'm free to share whatever you guys need.
Well, Beth, thank you. And now moving from chemistry over into English. So we have Heather Kennedy. Heather, hello.
Yes. Hi. So one of the things that I did, because I'm a special education teacher, so I teach 4 different classes. And so I made a like general background template, and I don't think I put it in the presentation, of just like my wall, my posters, my whiteboard, my little cabinet. So that I could just duplicate it and then change it and customize it for each class, because you'll see that there's like different things on my bookshelf for my social emotional skills class versus learning strategies versus English. So that was something that saved me a lot of time. Was I created my first classroom with just the basics, like the furniture and the little like boxes in my cubby organizer. And then to save time, I would just duplicate it from there. So for me, I linked a lot of stuff just like Beth that I want them to have access to. And one of the other things that I also tried to do was make it mirror what I would have up in like my regular classroom. So like my little sign over here that says Mrs. Kennedy's classroom, I took that picture of a sign that actually hangs in my real classroom, and same as the positive is always better than negative poster. Those are photos from my actual classroom. So that was sort of fun to like incorporate those for when we go back to school, that they can see like, oh, like that's actually here. So that was one of the things I did. My plan is to post our agenda for the week and link my course materials. So we use Canvas for our learning management system. So all of my agenda items will link to where they'll complete their work on Canvas. I have a link to, with the Zoom logo, to my meeting room for Zoom for when we have our for the students. The Gmail logo will email me directly. So when they click on that, it will automatically open an email to me. I have my school Instagram account linked on there. And then I also figured out a way to have them sign up for appointments on Google Calendar. So that is the make an appointment link. I got really tired of emailing back and forth 100 times trying to figure out a time when I could Zoom one-on-one with a student. So now they can just make an appointment with me when I am available during like office hours times. And so you can set that up. And trying to think of what else I put on there. I linked our, so for English, we do a lot of choice reading. And so that's why I have the public library links on there. This year, I'm going to have them all sign up for library cards because I have a pretty large classroom library, but they won't be able to access that while we're online. So we are, we're going to sign up for library cards, and I'm going to get them to download the Kindle app so that way they can read online because we do a lot of that. And then the cell phone links to my Remind account, so they can sign up for that for text messages. And then the computer links to Canvas, which is again our learning management system. And then the other links in the bottom, the Bring Change to Mind and the Crisis Text Line. I'm also the wellness advisor for our school. And so we do a lot with mental health. And so those are on there for them as well. And I think that's it for this one. And then I just made slight changes to the other ones. My social emotional class is called Yes, I Can, and we focus on social skills in there. So I linked some online games that we can play because we used to do a lot of board games in class. I think I also have Calm on there because we did a lot of meditation last semester. And then for learning strategies, I linked their online planners, making an appointment, and a couple other review things that they can use, because learning strategies is there to support them in their other classes. So those are my classroom ones. But then I also, as I said, I'm the wellness coordinator for our school, and we were really excited. We thought we were going to get to actually open our wellness center on campus this year. We got all of the materials delivered shortly before the closure. The kids were super excited. We set it all up, and then school closed. So we made an online one, and so we're the Cascade Coyotes. So the name of our wellness center is called the Zen Den. And so I again tried to mirror what we're putting in our actual wellness center. And so I have it linked to a variety of mental health resources that are out there for teenagers, like the yoga mat, links to free online yoga classes. We have Calm and Headspace on there. Our Bring Change to Mind Instagram account. There's some other like a coloring resource. If you click on the affirmations on the bookshelf, it takes you to an affirmation generator. So a couple other fun little things on there for the kids to access, and we'll change and update it as we have other online wellness related activities that the kids in my club plan. I think that's it.
Heather, that's awesome. Okay, so I have to know, Heather, where did you get the metal work done, your custom metal work?
So I would have to get the information. My husband actually had it made for me last year when I was going back to the classroom, because all of my other stuff was like, I used to teach at West Ranch with Molly and with you. And so I had a lot of Wildcat stuff, and I also had a lot of stuff with my maiden name. And so he had that made for me as a surprise when I went back to the classroom last year.
All right, that's very cool.
But I can send you the information if you would like it. It's an Etsy shop.
I would love it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Heather, thank you. All right, so I think we're now ready for Molly. Molly, will you share your Bitmoji classroom with us?
Yeah, so I mean, I just think it's so cool that we all teach such different things, but we're finding a use for it. So mine is just all the stuff that my kids are going to use. Actually, the two posters up on the top, the hand signs, that's something, that I have in my room for real. And then the same thing, the voice quality continuum is also a real poster that I have. So it's kind of cool to be able to take, and the one below that, which is about growth mindset, is a poster that I have up in my classroom. So it was kind of fun to be able to, find images of actual things that are on my wall and be able to paste them into the classroom. So my returning kids are definitely going to be like, oh, the voice continuum is there, and oh, the growth mindset versus fixed mindset poster. So those are kind of like, little Easter eggs for them. And then I could even, I have a link on those that will take them to a larger image. So the way our schedule is, on Wednesday, we see all of our classes for 30 minutes. And so that would be a good time to tell everybody, okay, why don't you click on the growth mindset poster and let's talk about what fixed mindset versus growth mindset looks like. So, we can use that as a class thing, or they can just click on their own. And then everything else, kind of like exactly what Ron and Beth and Heather have set up. A lot of these things, like my whiteboards, I have 2 whiteboards in my room, are going to change. So the first link that's there, it's a Google slideshow that talks about the different voice parts and gives them an introduction to different terminology, as they become kind of more familiar with their voice as their instrument. So probably after the first week, I'll take it out of the classroom, but maybe, then put it in the archives of Google Classroom so the kids can still access it. And then I'll put up the next slideshow or the next assignment. So some of those things are going to stay, and some of them will be swapped in and out. And then, I have the same kind of thing. If you click on the Purell on the piano, it takes you to the CDC hand washing guidelines. And if you click on the Baby Yoda, that's like a classroom joke. I think that's kind of fun too. Another choir director shared her Bitmoji classroom, and she was like, had a saxophone, and I was like, do you play the saxophone? She's like, no, it's a joke because my husband or my boyfriend plays the saxophone. And I just thought that was so funny, because then that's like a little connection to real life. So I do have a Baby Yoda in my classroom, and if you click on this Baby Yoda, it takes you to one of my favorite bad lip reading videos, the Seagulls one. And I play this for my kids every year, and they're like, "Oh, here she goes again." So it's just a stupid video, but it's just like a way to incorporate, some of those little personality and community things, right? Because that's the biggest thing that we're all just so hungry for, is that community that we have with our kids. So this is just a silly, fun way to do it. So yeah, so that's the way I set up my classroom. And then the next slide, then I got, again, kind of like Ron said, a little bit down the rabbit hole, and I made these animated GIF. If you click on either choir or guitar class banner, it took me 20 minutes. They're super easy to make. They don't take that much time, but there's a link to a tutorial that shows you how to do it. Like I said, 20 minutes. You have to get an add-on called Creator Studio, but it'll turn it right into a GIF for you. And the tutorial video that I put in there tells you exactly, like Ron was saying, how to change the dimensions. So basically you're just making a 5-slide show, and then this Creator Studio turns it into a GIF. It's fun, and it's easy to upload into Google Classroom. So I just thought that was kind of one extra way, if anybody's using Google Classroom, that you can, use it. And then those other 2 things are just 2 things that I found really helpful: the embedding code, and then the one for the banner for Google Classroom. So yeah.
All right, Molly, thank you. And Molly, I think I'm going to be hitting you up one more time. Oh, wait, whose is this here?
Well, it was something that was shared on Facebook that I put in, because if you were going to share this with people, it gives step-by-step videos. So the lady on Facebook gave permission to share. So it's got step-by-step of how to do things with links of how to get them. She had it up and down. So when I put it in, it formatted to side, so it doesn't look as good as she had it, but the links still work.
All right, Beth, thank you. This is, there's a lot of colors going on here. All right, hey, I wanted to go back because the Purell bottle was something that that piqued my interest, because I'm trying to click on the Purell bottle and I'm not able to. And so Molly, I'm wondering if maybe the Purell bottle is hidden behind the piano.
I think you're right. I think I need to move it to the front.
So I'm glad you probably did that intentionally, because I forgot to talk about how to, there in Google Slides, just like in a lot of different Adobe Photoshop and other applications, there are different layers, right? Like every one of the objects on a Google slide is a different layer. And so, for example, if your guitar is back here, then you want to bring it to the front, because that's an object that you want to be as far forward as possible. So on that guitar, for example, is that the guitar? Nope. Let me go ahead and just undo. There we go. So this guitar, if it were behind an object and you wanted to, oh no, I'm moving you all around.
It's fine.
If I wanted to bring that guitar to the front, there are a couple different ways you can do that. You can either right mouse click, and this is the order command. So you can either bring it all the way to the front, bring forward, send backward, or send to back, right? So if I wanted to send it all the way, boom, like behind everything, then there it goes, it's gone. The only thing that this must be a background. This blue must be a background here, this wall, because I can still see a little bit of the guitar there. So what I want to do instead is I want to bring it to, nope. What I want to do instead is I want to click on it first, and then I want to bring it all the way to the front. Now there are keyboard shortcuts, and again, I'm just using the keyboard right now. I'm using the keys on my keyboard because I love keyboard shortcuts. So there are keyboard shortcuts. So if I want to send it like down, 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 I could hold down Control or Command on a Mac and hit the down arrow. And you can see as I do this, it's going to start to go behind other stuff, right? Until eventually it's pretty much gone, except this must be a background here, which it can't go behind the background. So I'm going to go ahead and Control up. And if I want to do Control Shift up, then it brings it all the way to the front. So this piano, I'm going to go ahead and send it. There we go. I'm going to send it back until I can see the Purell bottle. Now I click on the Purell bottle, and there are the CDC guidelines that Molly was talking about. So sometimes an object ends up getting like not where you want it to be, right? And so if you want to bring it forward or back, you're going to use either that right mouse click, order, and then use this this menu right here, or you can use those keyboard shortcuts. You click on the object. I can make Molly disappear. Control down sends you back, and then Control up would bring you to the front. Control shift up brings you all the way, that object all the way back to the front. Okay.
And the other thing too, Ron, is so I've played with this because right now I have this in my Google Classroom. And when I did the embed code, the way the kids see the slide, the layers don't really matter. And I don't know, Beth, you and I talked about this earlier today. Is it like that for your class too?
I think if it's in present mode, it doesn't matter.
Okay. And that's something, so that's kind of the final thing. I noticed that we're at 7:51, and so I kind of want to start wrapping this up. And so the final thing I want to talk about is where are you showing this? In other words, you're going to take this, you're going to put all this time, hours and hours into your Bitmoji classroom, but then how do you make it forward facing? So before I talk about my thoughts on it, because I have never even done this before with my students, and I think you, Molly and Beth and Heather, I think you probably have thought even more about this. So who wants to jump in first? How are you going to make this forward facing so that kids can access it? How are you doing that?
I'm going to make mine the homepage on my Canvas for each class so that this will be the first thing they see when they log in to the course. So that's where I'm going to start with that, because I want them to start there and look at the agenda, and then it will link to what they need for that week. And then for our Wellness Center one, the goal is to update that. And I also forgot to mention, so we got our administration on this bandwagon also. And so they're making like a student center one for the assistant principals and the counselors. And so they have a lot of stuff linked there that's going to go up on our website as well. So we're trying to like sort of link all of them together so that they can get to different Bitmoji classrooms and resources from like one spot, basically.
Okay, cool.
So for Google Classroom, you can't post it as like a page. You either can embed it on your stream, or you can link it. I've linked it as material under classwork, so that, and I'm just doing it by date. So it'll be the landing page for classwork. And I have it as a date virtual classroom under my categories. I wish there was a way that it could be a landing page that it would open up just in that preview present mode, but it just won't work. So you have to make it as, I do it as material. And then I just add it in there like that. Yeah.
All right. So we would just drop it in. And then basically this would be, instead of the title being Bitmoji Classroom, the title would be Tuesday, August 11th or Wednesday, August 12th, or whatever the date of that would be. And then you would also then title it, Tuesday, 8/11/2020, for example. And then if you wanted to, in Google Classroom, if you wanted to make this, make your topics like units, then you could organize them that way, or you could organize them by month. So essentially in your Google Classroom, in your classwork, you would organize it whatever your system of organization is. Molly, you were going to talk about the embed code, right?
Yeah. So actually, Ron, right there, you know how to do it, right? I mean, that's, yeah. So that I think is the most the easiest way.
And so when you're embedding this, you're embedding it into what interface exactly?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I have it in my Google Classroom, and then I also have a Canvas account, like Heather said, and I just am not super familiar with Canvas, but it's easy to embed it in Canvas as well. Okay.
Did you say you can put the embed code in Google Classroom, or you have not found a way to do that?
Yeah, no, you just put it into, like Beth said, she put it in the materials, and I just put mine in the stream. But mine doesn't have the little thumbnail, and then I said I just keep, every time I add stuff, I just keep bumping that to the top.
Okay.
With embed, it looked like a link. with linked. So you want to make sure you follow this either way you do it. Don't put it into Google Classroom straight from your Google Drive, because that won't be in present mode and they'll be able to move things all over the place. So either way you do it, whether you link it and you put it in as material and you have the little thumbnail, or you embed and it makes a link, make sure you do the publish to web first.
Okay. And then one more thing that I wanted to show with publishing to the web is if you actually copy that the HTML embed code, then you could, let's say that you were using Google Sites, for example, then you could embed it. I'll just create a blank Google site just as an example. Then you could insert this here, and I want to do HTML embed code, and then you would embed it. And then let's insert and let's see, I want to see how big this is. There we go. Okay, so stretch this out and then center it. So let's say that you had a Google Sites site, for example. So this could be your homepage, right, on Google Sites. And this is, you know, WordPress or Weebly or Blogger. Like there are other like blogging and teacher website platforms that you can use. And you could embed it, like this could be, you know, Mr. Ippolito's class. And then when they go to your website, then they will see whatever you've embedded. And you could even keep that same slideshow as long as the front facing, the top slide one is the one that you want it to show on that particular day, then you wouldn't ever need to change your website. It will just constantly update based on whatever is page one of your Google slideshow, if that makes sense. Hopefully that made sense. Okay, 7:57, we got 3 minutes left. I think I checked off all the boxes on my classroom learning checklist, but what do you still want to share? Is there a great tip or thing that you want to share about your Bitmoji classroom, or what you've learned, or questions, or what do you want to know? What do you want to talk about? All right. Well, hey, then why don't we do this? Because I see some great friends. Gina Painter, hello. I haven't seen you in forever. Celia Collins, good to see you. Vern Johnson, all the way from Gold Country, from Calaveras County, up there in the Sierras. Why don't we do this? This is probably a good time to go ahead, and it's 7:58. We're close to 8 o'clock. We are all trying to spend as much family time as we can before we all go back into our classrooms, and then you know, frantically trying to get our classrooms together in our virtual spaces together. So if you want to throw some love in the chat for Molly and for Beth and for Heather, thank you so much for joining us. This has been a lot of fun. If you want to stick around, if you have like questions that you want to ask in a smaller group, or you just want to hang out, or you know, ask something specific, you can. Otherwise, I think this is probably a good time to say thank you. If you want to watch this later on, it is being broadcast on my YouTube channel, as I told you it would be. So it's going to be there on my Heart District YouTube channel, so you can check that out. The link was in your confirmation email. Folks, thanks so much for coming, and appreciate you, Beth and Heather and Molly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey,
Ron, are you hanging out for a minute?
I am going to hang out for a minute. Yes.
Well, first of all, it's really good to see you, and this was awesome. So I have a tech question that is sort of related to it. Okay, so everybody's talking about, like, so we're giving a live Zoom class, right? And so the kids are logged on to Zoom. And then we're saying, and then you have them click on this. How can they do that at the same time if they're using their one computer to be logged on to Zoom? How can they also be clicking on things in Google Classroom along with us? Or is that not possible?
Well, so it'll take a little bit of getting used to, because, you know, I think back in the spring when we were just sort of in emergency mode, like I know for me, I was maybe on Zoom for 15, 20 minutes, maybe a half an hour. You know, I like to talk. And then the rest of the time I would be like, okay, now go and go and go forth into the world and get this work done and do it. but now we need to be more interactive. We need to kind of, now that we've had a time to prepare and reshift our brains. So you can have, depending on your setup, different kids are going to have different setups, right? Like for some, they're just going to be listening to your voice. They won't be seeing you because they're going to be on a different tab. If you're guiding them through a Nearpod or a Pear Deck or something like that. For some, they might, if they have the luxury of having either two screens, or they have like their phone and their computer, or their iPad and a computer or something like that, then they could be like participating in the class on one device and then doing their Pear Deck, Nearpod, slideshow, link clicking, on another device. For
Is
me,
that what everybody's finding? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. The two phone thing where kids are two devices where kids have their phone where they're doing things and then they're also watching you on another device. Is that what's happening most of the?
well, I'm going to assume that they don't. I'm going to assume that they're like, they just have this one device and they're just like trying to make it all work with this one thing. So I think for my Bitmoji classroom, I think for me, it's going to be more of like the resources, the agenda, like something that they can go back to when we're done, right? I'm also planning on using Nearpod, which I have never used before, but Nearpod is kind of a little bit more guided. So my plan is they're going to have Zoom open on one tab or have the Zoom app open, but then just listening to me as they're going through like the Nearpod lesson. So they'll see, I want to have, and Nearpod is sort of like a slideshow, but it's interactive. You can put polls in there and you can put little formative assessments that you can embed in the slides and different interactive things like that. So my plan is they're going to be hearing my voice kind of guide them along as they're on the Nearpod. And then once we're done with that, then we kind of, when it's time to interact, I'll be like, okay, let's come back to Zoom. Let's look at each other's faces. Let's go into breakout rooms or look at my face or, whatever. I don't quite have it all figured out yet.
That's good though. That helps. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ron, I have a question.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you can push this out every single day because that's what it sounds like you guys are saying. But if I push it out today and someone's absent and they come back to it tomorrow, am I going to have to save that slide every day, the new version of the slide, make a copy?
Well, so that's when you have to decide like what your system of organization is going to be. If you're going to have one slideshow with like today's is the top slide and then it goes in reverse chronological order. Well, then if they missed yesterday, they just go back to yesterday's slide. Like you're going to have them dated. You know what I mean? Like they can just go back in reverse chronological order.
So by the end of the year, you could have 180. You could have 180 slides in this deck.
And what I would, if I were going to do that model, and honestly, Allison, I don't know yet what model I'm going to adopt.
Yeah.
For the spring, I was creating a separate slideshow for each lesson. And then I was attaching those to Google Classroom, like I think what Beth was talking about, the different assignments in Google Classroom, right? So, our series, material. So I would label the topics. Let me share this. So I would label the topics, and honestly, let me go back. What I should do is I should go to my archive classes because I can show you what I did. Restore. Sure. Okay, this might take a moment, but this was my system of organization in the spring. So go to classwork, and I would organize it by day. So there's the agenda. There's the agenda. Every day that we met in class was a different topic. And then all of the materials, whatever they needed for that day, whether it was a video or an assignment or whatever the case may be, that was a separate entry in Google Classroom, right? So that was a material, that's a material, this is a video. This right here was an assignment. And so they would do the assignment. So they would know that if it's organized, if they missed on May 4th, then they go back to May 4th, they look at the agenda, and I'll show you what that looks like. So I was making my agendas. This is me and my student teacher. And this is how I would format it. So it's like traffic lights. Stop. And then slow down, don't miss this. And then go and get this done. So it was kind of reminders, and then announcements, agenda, and then this was the lesson. And then this was like the go and do. Go get this done now.
And you created this for every single day?
Well, we were meeting twice a week, right? Class was meeting in our emergency COVID mode in the spring. We were meeting twice a week. It was sort of like a, kind of a block format. So now in the format that we're about to go into, we're going to meet 3 times a week, Monday or Tuesday. Everybody meets on Wednesday, and then Thursday or Friday. So that slideshow thing was more complicated, but we were meeting less often. So I think how I want to do it is I want to do 1 slide per day and have everything, boom, on one, ideally on that, my whiteboard, right? My virtual whiteboard.
We're meeting 5 days a week as if we're in school, even though it's virtually.
Good luck.
Wow.
Smile.
Hey, Ron, I have a question.
Yes.
MJ, hi.
Hi, MJ.
Always learning from you. I have my whole family watching on YouTube. I'm like, everybody has to watch this. So we got it. Okay, so on your classroom that you have, if I click on something like, let's say that Purell thing like she was showing us.
Yeah.
How do I get back now to your screen? To your classroom again?
So what happened when you clicked on that link, it either opened up a new tab or it just opened up the new link. And so you would just need it in your browser, just click the back arrow.
Oh, it'll go back. Okay, well, that was super easy.
I think so. Well,
yeah.
Try it and see if I'm telling the truth.
Well, I thought there was somebody that was explaining something like you need to put a back arrow and go back to a different page, and you had to put a transparent box around it.
So I honestly, I couldn't even, Beth was on another level with some of the things that she was describing. Okay, I didn't even know exactly what she was talking about. Like, yeah, no, I would.
Okay, I was just, because that whole thing that she did, I went, oh, wait a minute, what did she say?
Okay, I cannot believe there's anyone that knows more about anything on the computer than Ron Ippolito.
Oh no, Beth was doing tech circles around me there.
So Beth, the other gal that was presenting, that was she had like these links, and it said like what did it say? Who was the other person that's not on here still? It was presenting.
So there was Heather. She's the special education teacher. And then there was Molly. Molly is the music.
Okay, it was Molly. She's not on there. Can I get her email by any chance? Someone to ask her.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'll just throw that in the chat right now.
Okay, you're awesome. I think it was
Molly. Beth, can you explain to me, because I think there's a function for it. I just couldn't figure out what it was. Putting a clear box over an object and making it clickable. I know exactly why you would do that. I mean, I know how to do it, but why would you do that? Oh, Beth, you're muted. Beth, you're muted.
For my slides that are linked to that first slide, if I don't want the students to be able to click on them to keep that slideshow going forward, I have to put a box over it so that it will just be linked to that slide. So it'll stay there no matter where they click, except for the arrow to take them back to the original slide. And like I said, that's like if you want to link things, if you want to have a slideshow, but you don't want them to go forward, you want them to just be able to, you know, click the links that you have for them to go forward. You don't want them just pushing the arrow button to go forward. So you know, I teach high schoolers, so they're going to be a little more tech savvy as far as, oh, I can just push the arrow button, and, you know, I want them to know, no, I want you to click that link. So that's only if you don't want them to be able to keep going forward in the slideshow. If you want them just to have to stay right where you've sent them.